Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my stepdad walk me down the aisle? I, 25F, am getting married soon to my fiancé, 27M, and this situation has turned what should be the happiest time of my life into one of the most stressful. Some background. My mom, 57F, and my dad, 59M, divorced when I was 16. It wasn't pretty. Their marriage had been rocky for years, and when it finally ended, there was a lot of bitterness and resentment on both sides, especially for my mom. I was still a teenager, old enough to see and remember everything, but also young enough to be caught in the crossfire. Despite their split, my dad never abandoned me or made me feel like a burden. He stayed actively involved in my life. He showed up to my high school graduation, helped me move into my college dorm, and was always there whenever I needed advice. Even when things were hard financially for him, he still found ways to support me, whether that meant fixing my car, paying for a school trip, or just being there emotionally when I was struggling. My mom, on the other hand, started dating my now stepdad, 59M, about 3 years ago. They married 2 years ago. By that time, I was already an adult, out of high school, and carving out my own life. I've always been polite and respectful to my stepdad, but the reality is, we've never built a deep relationship. He didn't raise me. He wasn't there for my milestones. He feels more like my mom's husband than a father figure. And I think that's natural. It takes years to form those bonds, not a couple of dinners and holidays. Now to the wedding. My fiancé and I have been planning this for months, and everything feels like a dream coming together. The dress, the decorations, the food, everything. One of the most special parts for me has always been the idea of my dad walking me down the aisle. I've pictured it since I was a kid. To me, it's not just tradition, it's symbolic. My dad has been there for me through thick and thin, and I want him by my side in that moment. So, during a small house party we hosted for our wedding party and close family, I asked my dad privately if he would walk me down the aisle. His reaction melted my heart. His eyes filled with tears, and he hugged me like he never wanted to let go. He said yes right away, and I could tell it meant the world to him. But then everything blew up. My mom, who had overheard, immediately became upset. Later in the evening, she approached me with my stepdad right by her side. In front of everyone, friends, family, my fiancé, she asked why I had chosen my dad over her husband. She said it like it was some kind of betrayal. I was stunned. I tried to explain that while I appreciate her husband, I barely know him compared to my dad, who has been a constant in my life for 25 years. Instead of understanding, my mom completely lost it. She accused me of being ungrateful and selfish. She said my stepdad has done so much by accepting me into his life and that I should honor him for that. She went on a rant about how my dad doesn't deserve to walk me down the aisle because he ruined her life, and that my stepdad has been a better man to her than my dad ever was. The thing is, this isn't about her. This is about me and the bond one have with my father. The whole scene was mortifying. My friends, and even some of my fiancé's friends, left early because they didn't want to get caught in the drama. My fiancé tried to step in and defend me, calmly explaining that this was my choice, not hers, but she wouldn't listen. She just kept yelling about how I was humiliating her husband and disrespecting their marriage. Finally, I had enough. I told her and my stepdad that if they couldn't respect my choice, they needed to leave. That's when she dropped the bomb. She said that if her husband wasn't the one to walk me down the aisle, then neither of them would come to my wedding at all. My stepdad just stood there silently, not saying a word, almost like he was embarrassed, but my mom doubled down on her ultimatum. My dad, who had been quiet up until this point, looked so hurt. I'll never forget the look on his face, like he felt guilty for being the cause of all this tension, even though it wasn't his fault. He left shortly after, and I could see he was fighting back tears. That broke my heart. Since then, things have been really tense. My mom hasn't spoken to me much. Yesterday, she finally called, but instead of making peace, she tried once again to convince me to change my mind. When I told her that my decision hasn't changed, she called me an ungrateful asshole and hung up. Now, I'm left in this awful position. I love my mom, and I really do want her at my wedding. But I cannot and will not take away this moment from my dad. He's earned this. He's been there for me for my whole life, and this is something we've both looked forward to for years. My fiancé says I should let my mom make her choice. If she decides not to come, that's on her. But it still hurts, because I never imagined my wedding day being overshadowed by this kind of family drama. So what do I do? Am I wrong for refusing to let my stepdad walk me down the aisle? Should I compromise just to keep the peace? Or would that be betraying myself and my dad? Am I really the asshole here?